On today's episode of Beauty Behind the Brand, we have Courtney Jones with us, one of the co-founders of Hustle Beauty. Her and her teammates were professional athletes when it came to the soccer field, and now turning that competitive drive, that passion in the beauty industry, and really creating a brand that they needed to create for anyone who is the hustle mentality. So let's dive into this episode. So many takeaways when it comes to launching a product line, developing a product, and really seeing the success with it in both Sephora, Target, and so many other places you will recognize.
All right, Courtney, I'm excited to hear your story. I feel like the world of Instagram and connecting, and I saw your page and I was like, we have to have you on. So all the way from Texas, we were just talking about that. You have the floor. I'm excited to hear your story and how you got to where you are today.
I love it. Okay, well, we usually start out here at Hustle Beauty with telling people our ultimate claim to fame and background is actually not in beauty at all. We have 4 founders of our team, and we are all professional soccer players. So that's exactly where we met. Beauty was not in the picture, I think, even a little bit. And I always like to tell people I'm the youngest of our team, which is so nice and fun. But no, I've got 3 other founders, and we were all teammates on a team up in Boston. It was the Boston Breakers. If you Google it or look it up now, it did fold, but I have a feeling a Boston team's coming back in the next couple of years, which will be fun. But that's where me and my team met. So like that was our original background. What had nothing to do with what this industry and what we're doing now, which we'll get into. I always think it's a better way to start a company in a weirder sense, just because we pull so much from being professional athletes and our mentality there. And it's fun coming into a different industry. I'm learning so much, but at the same time, we're very, very athletic minded. We're very true to who we are and our personality traits. And so we get to bring that competitiveness like into the beauty space. And a lot of people that we work with are not like that. So they definitely find it entertaining. Um, but yeah, that was kind of where things started, was on the soccer field. To make it a shorter story. We really struggled with finding products that would last through a game. And it was very, very simple. Not to date ourselves, but man, this was back in about 2012. We were on the field, and at that time period, let's see, the rise in beauty was like tinted moisturizers, Laura Mercier, Bare Minerals. You wanted something clean, healthy. You were sweating, you were gross, but there were kind of this mix of players in our locker room. Half of them would cake on like zinc oxide or copper tone or like any like the white over their nose. Like they were all protection. Then there was the other half of us that were maybe a little bit more girly, wanted to protect ourselves, but ultimately wanted to look good. And we went straight for like Dior, Chanel foundations, and like it was orange. And yes, it ended up on our jerseys, and it was gross. And so in a smaller sense, that's kind of where this idea started, was like, there's a problem, but let's identify what it was. And it kind of led into, okay, yes, orange on our jerseys, makeup while you're playing, it's not great, but ultimately we need to protect our skin while looking good. And so we kind of had this idea as teammates. We were very entrepreneurial minded. Although we were professional athletes, we did have a lot of time on our hands, just because you can't train all day. Like you can probably work and be in front of your computer all day, but you can't run all day. So we'd wake up early. We'd have, oh my gosh, we'd have our morning practice, and then we'd probably get lunch. And then we'd have our second practice, was usually in the gym, and then fitness was after. But then at night we were like, well, now what do we do? So probably through many nights of like watching The Bachelor or Bachelorette together, just because like that was the season that we were in, we just started writing down ideas, and we started writing like, okay, what's the main problem? We started polling our team, like, what do you guys use? What do you use? Does it work? Do you like it? And ultimately, like, no one liked what they were wearing. It was in their eyes. It was gross. It either made them break out. It didn't stay on. Sunscreen was stinging. Like, no one was happy. And so that was pretty much the start. We had a really good network and kind of platform from being pro athletes, that we at least knew the right people to get jump started. But it's been a wild ride, knowing that like I went to college, I went to UNC. But my major was in, oh my gosh, management and society, like nothing beauty. I am a consumer. I would roll through the aisles of Sephora and Ulta and have a blast, but like coming from a competitive soccer field into this space has been challenging, but really exciting.
That's amazing. And that's like, I definitely have more of like the athletic background. I was not a professional athlete by any means, but I was not good at school. But when it came to like any sport I was involved in, and that's what I was like the girly girl, like volleyball was one of my main sports. And I'm like full foundation, sweating. So I definitely know
Yes.
what you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah, and that's what I feel like finding that happy medium. Something even when I was running hurdles, like you're out in the track all day, like you're just caking on the sunscreen, stinging your
Yeah.
eyes while you're running. Like there's so many problems that need to be solved.
Girl, volleyball and track.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
that's just a few.
that's amazing. I do feel like, and that this might be even longer conversation, but as a female athlete, I experienced the locker room, and I had, again, like I was saying, 50% of our team was more worried about skincare and sunscreen. They weren't that girly. They were out there, they were competitive, and they wanted to protect their skin. And it really was split half and half. The other side kind of wanted to be girly. I
Yeah.
remember, I remember in college, which at the college level, like things are very, very competitive, especially where I went. And half of us like wore bows in our hair,
Yes.
and the other half of our team hated it. Hey, we were obviously friends, but they hated it. They're like, take the bow out. Like we're trying to go after these people. And I was like, no, look at it. Look at it. It's so cute. So, it's really split 50-50, but at the end of the day, like we are all looking for something that protects our skin. And you know what? If it enhances confidence, if it gives you, that little edge that you're like, okay, and I look good, like you just can't beat that. And plus we had things to worry about, like after game interviews and
Yes. Yeah.
I, obviously we only had certain amount of games per year because most of the time it was like after practice, I just wanted to go straight to dinner. Like I just didn't want to look like a total hot mess. So yeah, entered the beauty space. I actually have a funny story. So we were in Boston, and my other partners, I'll mention them, Leslie Osborne, Lindsay Tarpley, and Taryn Hemmings. Leslie and Lindsay were actually on our US women's national team, which is so cool. And so Leslie had a little bit more of a platform at the time. And so she went on, man, I'm like really dating us, 2012, went on Twitter and wrote a tweet. Are there any cosmetic chemists out there? That is how we started. Like people asked
Amazing.
us, like, how did you know how to make a product? And I was like, oh, we had this idea. Leslie went on Twitter, asked if anyone was a cosmetic chemist, and this guy reached out to her. It wasn't him originally who helped us, but it was a guy who had just retired and led us to an incredible chemist in Los Angeles who ended up being our consultant for a couple of years. Um,
Amazing.
so the
Wow.
story was really cool. Like, it's not like I come from a family line of chemists or I knew exactly where to go. We knew nothing. But it's been so exciting. I feel like when you don't know something and you take the time to really learn from someone else, they're in the industry. I'm not trying to go in and tell them how to do their job. We're sitting back, we are observing, taking notes for the day that maybe we had to take over things. Um, it's the wild, wild west out there in the beauty industry.
Well, and I say like always hire the professionals in that field, right? It's like throwing someone on the soccer field who never knows what like who's never played soccer before. It's like you guys going to hire a chemist who's never been a chemist before, right? It's like
No, no,
hiring that expert. And there's no hurt in asking. Like throwing it out
exactly.
there, asking people, connecting, right? That's incredible.
And we were like the passion. We knew exactly what we wanted, but for a while, some of our teammates were like, "Are you making this at home?" I'm like, "No. What did you think I was doing? Like cooking up in the kitchen?" No, we hired absolute professionals that work with, I mean, the best brands. When we met our original chemist out of Los Angeles, we still worked with him to this day. But I remember walking into his office and being like, my jaw dropped just because, again, I was a consumer. So I saw in his office, they have showrooms. And I mean, this was when eyeshadow palettes were really big.
Yes. Yeah. Like the Naked, Urban Decay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Tarte, the
Yes.
Anastasia. So I walked into his office and saw all of those and I was like, no way. And like, it was so cool for me. He thought it was cool these professional athletes were coming in, but I was like, he's the guy that makes this. So I think it was like a mutual respect, which was fun.
And that's such a neat connection for him, even, right? To probably work with people that he never in a million years would think that he would be working with directly to create a brand together.
Hey there, it's Nicole Mannion, host of Beauty Behind the Brand. I've got a quick tip for all you hustlers out there. You need to check out Hustle Beauty, high performance skincare that keeps up with your grind. Their products are no nonsense, just like us boss babes. I can't get enough of their conditioning lip balm, hydrating cleansing cloths. They are perfect for on-the-go touch-ups, keeping you feeling and looking your best. We reached out to Hustle Beauty and they offered our listeners an exclusive discount, and the promo code is BBTB10 for 10% off your entire order at www.hustlebeauty.com. Again, that's BBTB10 for 10% off your entire order. Simple as hustle hard, glow hard with Hustle Beauty.
Totally. You know what? When we started working with him, his daughter was in high school. She ran track and she helped at the front desk, like when she wasn't in school. And so we got to see her every time we were there. Now she's our project manager. So
No
like
way.
so cool. So like now she's built herself up. It's 10 years later and she's still in charge of us, but like obviously on a higher level. And I just think that's so cool. Like we saw her when we would talk to her just about on a competitive level. And now she's in charge of our brand. It's so cool.
That's amazing. Now let's like for the listeners, can you just break down the exact products, like for kind of
Yeah.
your what product you started with to what you have now as your SKUs?
Yes. And you know what? I'm going to do my best to be like brief and tell these stories. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like where we started, what we were trying to do, and then comes product. And I want to say first this because I keep talking about 2012 and like back then when we were pro soccer players, we started a brand back then. It was called Sweat Cosmetics. We launched in 2015. We launched with mineral powder. It was kind
Okay.
of bare minerals with SPF, and it was our own take and spin on it. And then around 2019, we actually took Sweat. We were on Sephora.com. We were sold in Dick's Sporting Goods. We were sold inside Anthropology. So we
Wow.
definitely we spread our wings. Um, but in 2019, we were at sort of like a plateau. And as a team, we tried to do like quarterly meetings. So, but of course, our meetings with four founders who were friends, like we just kind of you join up and you just start hanging out and then you get rolling with the brainstorm. So we were sitting there and we took a little deep dive into our company and we are like, why did we plateau this year? What's going on and what can we do? And one of our biggest issues was debating between coming out with new products or reordering things that had sold out. And that is a big issue just in consumer goods in general and inventory. We kept reordering products because we knew that they were going to sell. That's what our customers love.
Yes. Mhm.
And again, we're talking about like mineral powder. And then from there, I think that because we weren't coming out with anything new, brand awareness started to plateau. And that's kind of why our revenue plateaued. We had the same customers going after the same product. So really taking a look, we were thinking like, okay, we're going to come out with something new. We're going to do something better. We're going to cut down our price point. We were going to do all of these things. And in the middle of thinking about all of that, I thought it was only smart to not only look at some product and operational issues, but also look at our brand.
Yes.
And was it current? Was it attracting the right people? You know, you don't want to, you don't want to be trendy. You don't want to change with the trends, but you need something so classic that it outlasts trends. And I felt like Sweat, our first brand, wasn't doing that. It wasn't necessarily set for scale. Again, we had a line of mineral powder. We didn't really go beyond that. And so we had this, again, 2019, it's 2024. And this was in 2019. We decided to work with a branding team and completely rebrand. So first things first that went was our name. We got rid of Sweat Cosmetics and we changed our name to Hustle Beauty. We trademarked it, patent everything back in 2019. We absolutely loved that name because it was, to us, it was like a mindset. You have a hustle mindset. You live a very hustle lifestyle. And it could connect with people who weren't necessarily athletes. Sweat was very athletic and very intimidating to some. And we were missing out on a whole group of women who are active, but not hardcore. We were also, like, as founders, we were growing in our own lives. And so we were no longer at this point on the soccer field, like going to battle. We were moms and entrepreneurs and just trying to work out and work and live these crazy lives. And it was like, man, you know, no longer am I that sweaty. Like, you know, it wasn't inspirational and it wasn't important to us. So the name change was really, really big for us. So that was the biggest switch, I feel like, and why we're talking today is we took a look at our brand. We rebranded into Hustle Beauty. In 2022, we were actually a Target Takeoff Beauty Accelerator brand, which was
Oh,
awesome.
wow. Yeah.
And this was right at the pivotal point. I mean, like, we had not launched Hustle Beauty products yet. We were still Sweat, working on Hustle. And it was the perfect timing to join into this cohort and be a part of their program because we got one-on-one time with like Target executives giving us feedback on our brand, which was so cool because the other brands that come in, they got feedback on their current brand. They were selling, and then if an executive with their experience was like, you should change this. That's really hard. We were in like the development stages. So when they asked us to change something, we took it to heart and were able to do that. So that was also a really pivotal point in our brand. But back, I know, to your original question, the products that we're selling right now, Hustle right now has two products. The third one's launching soon, so I get confused. We've got two products right now. We've got cleansing cloths, so they're hydrating cleansing cloths. And then we have a lip balm, an SPF 15 lip balm. It's got all natural zinc oxide, a little hint of peppermint. So it has a little bit of a cooling sensation, but not overpowering. And then we're launching a third product very, very soon with some other exciting news, which will be really fun. We are excited about where we're going. And I feel like right now we're at this point where we wanted to launch something different that we hadn't done before, but we do have former Sweat customers asking us for our makeup back.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
ultimately, we're a cosmetic company, and people are like, but you're selling cleansing cloths and a lip balm. That's kind of skincare. I'm like, I know, just wait. Like, it is all in the works. The toughest thing with the beauty industry, it's a good problem. When you have a product that has sunscreen and you change your name, you have to go through testing again. And it's
Yes.
a good
Sunscreen
problem.
is one of the hardest things. People don't realize that. Like a foundation with an SPF is like the hardest thing to be able to do.
So hard, especially in Canada.
Oh,
So,
yes.
oh my gosh, like just the regulations, because it's considered a drug. So it's a good thing. The US is finally starting to regulate it more, which they should have been doing for a while, which is no problem to us because we've been doing sunscreen and the right regulations. But things just take a really long time. So we've got former customers that are like, bring back your foundation. I'm like, oh, I want it back more than anyone. Like, if secret, before we sold out of Sweat, I piled a big thing together and I put it in my closet. And because I was like, what am I supposed to do? I love it so much. I have 3 left. I have 3 of our foundations left. And I'm like, I'm being so selfish, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
I love it too much. So all that stuff is coming and we're excited about making more sweat resistant cosmetic problems, especially on the, or cosmetic products on the color side. But
Mhm.
right now we're going in kind of in this skincare direction. Um, it's really good right now just because it's brand awareness, it's universal products. So many people in all different skin tones and ranges of life can use this one product. So it's helpful with just getting our name out there before we go into the color side.
Oh, my, like even SKU numbers, like how many people, like we have a cosmetic line here in Ontario, like in Canada, that we've created around lashes and brows. And people are like that, oh, can you create this product? Can you do this? I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't have that many SKUs. Like how much
Yeah.
money and time and regulations and all the cosmetic notifications, like it's just people have
It's
no idea.
Oh
Hmm.
my gosh, especially with the inventory. We struggled with some inventory issues back with sweat. And we're trying to solve those issues now. But it's true, like with SKUs, let's say we're working on a foundation and we want 8 or 12 SKUs. The chemist has these giant mixing bowls. And so there's a minimum quantity per shade. And that is a lot of money. It is
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot and a lot of money, plus a ton of inventory that you're sitting with. So if you have a smaller customer base, also sunscreen expires. So I think that's kind of why we're wanting to build up our brand first. Let's get this customer base going before we come out with color because we'll be able to sell it faster to the right people, of course, rather than having it sit on our shelves.
Hmm. Are you really good at like taking your time and creating, or are you one of those people that are like, okay, what's the next best thing? Like, are you very like good at trying to stay present throughout the each product launch, or are you kind of one of those people that want to get to the next and excited for the future?
You know what? A little bit of both. I think ultimately capital and having the cash in order to do things.
Yes.
I get so excited about so many things and I get it to a certain point and then have to just like, okay, it's there and it's pretty. And like now I have to take a step back and not be so excited about it just because of capital constraints. So like I have a list and in my like my iPhone notes, I have a giant list of all the things that I want to come out with. And one day we totally will. I think testing kind of slows me down a little bit. We had man, we've been through it with testing. I feel like I'm an expert now, but the
Yes.
worst is you come out with this formula and you get the product, the sample of it, and you test it and you love it. And you're like, this is it. You send it to test, and it's like, and it didn't make the right SPF. And it's so frustrating because you have to go all the way back to start.
Yes.
And so that slows me down a little bit. I've had good days, I've had bad days. I've cried over SPF testing before. But man, I think just again, I am really a consumer. I could spend my whole day in Sephora trying new things and new products. And I don't know. I think it's fun. There was a man because the Sephora sales right now. I was walking through the aisles the other day. I love shopping online, but I love walking through so I can test it and see some things. There's a brand out. I'm obsessed with this product, so I'm going to mention it. It's called K Skin, CAY. Have you tried it yet?
No, I
Okay.
haven't. No.
It's called K Skin. They have a smaller collection of a line, but they have an SPF, I think it's 45, and it's kind of like a glowy
Okay.
sunscreen.
Yeah.
Um, but like I love trying new things and just applauding that brand because I think now I just have a different perspective. When I look at ingredients or I look at sunscreen or if I look at testing or what their claims are, I just like want to give them a hug. I'm like, man, you know what? You went through the ringer in order to get this product to people and you did an incredible job. So I think that's fun now. If anything, I have more of a respect for other brands and what they're doing. Um,
Even down
just
to the packaging, like the labels, the packaging, like right now we're working on getting FDA approved and European approved. And it's like we went through Canada, the loops and bounds doing that. But then now I'm like, it's just so much work. People have no idea. So yeah, it's like even the packaging, when you see like an innovative packaging that someone's never done before, you're like, wow, like this is
I know. I
this
know.
is insane. Like same thing, you just want to give them a hug, like you did it.
Did it. Okay, so I went with one of my friends through Sephora And she was just cracking up at me because I'm like, she's looking at the products, I'm looking at the boxes. I'm like,
Yes.
wow,
Yeah.
this box is beautiful. And she's like, what the heck? Like, who thinks like that? And I'm like, it's just, they did such a great job. The placement, the sizing, the text, like it's just, it gives you a different perspective, but it's
Oh,
a good thing.
100%. 100%. Now, with someone looking into creating a brand, creating a product, what's one of your biggest things you would tell them? Like you were mentioning cash flow and that as well. What's kind of like your number one thing before you guys actually went into production?
Okay, I think, and I'm definitely not going to throw myself under the bus here, but we've had a lot of learning. So I think it's a good thing to announce maybe issues that you had in the past. One thing that we did do that I think that you have to do, if you're thinking about starting a makeup brand, talk to someone who's done it before. Like I have from afar, like third party, watched other people. Um, no, wait, I'm going to backtrack because someone said this the other day. They're like, everyone and their mom has a makeup brand. And I was like, it's kind of true. It's kind of true because there is easy routes, right? Like there are private label routes and certain things where you just like, you can put your name on anything and you can sell it till, you know, forever. Um, but that's not really growing a brand. That's not growing a relationship. That's not growing a customer base. That's not what the business that we're in. So I just recommend instead of going those easy routes, find someone who's done it before. Like we had that wonderful chemist in LA, and she was able to connect us to our first chemist. And you know who our second chemist was? Our chemist's friend. So it was just like you build these relationships and you ask them, like, hey, you know, you can't create, we're working on a liquid product for the future, but I was like, okay, you can't create a liquid product yet. Who do you recommend? Oh, you got to go to these people and we'll go over there. So it's very network based. But thank goodness for having that consultant with us. She knew so much about regulations, testing, just like the legality of everything. Like I have to go through this testing. I don't really have a choice. And I have to do stability testing. I have to make sure my product doesn't have mold in it. Like just little things I don't think we really understood when we started how much goes into it. So do not just try to start a makeup brand. Really, really ground yourself and ask someone the steps in the process. Number two, um, time. Give yourself time. That was something else. Again, I think being like very athlete minded for all my life, it was like, you want me to do something, I got to do it now. Or like, I need something, you do it now. Everything was so fast paced. It takes a lot of time. Creating just like, I'll give an example. So we'll come out with the lip balm. The lip balm, there's so many pieces. So the first piece, you got to pick the packaging. What do you want it to come in? Once you pick that out, you get a design. You have to have someone design it. Then you send it to the factory. The factory sends back a sample. You have to sign and approve the sample. Then they have to do color matching. You have to send it, sign, approve the color, send it back. Finally, you're in production. I mean, minimum 4 to 6 months on just that.
Yeah. Yeah. Minimum. Exactly.
Minimum. I mean, that's like working real fast. And then at that point, you have to, like, while that's happening, of course, you have a formula and you're testing it and all of these things. So finally, you get the packaging over. You can fill it with something. Now it's got to go through testing because you have to make sure that the formula fits with the package. And then while that's all happening, you got to design the box that it goes in. And if it has sunscreen or any sort of drugs or actives in it, you have to approve the drug facts and make sure it's the right sizing and the fit. Does it fit on the carton? How big is the carton? I mean, there are so many steps. People, I'm not calling out customers just because they're not in this industry, but we get so many questions that are like, well, just come out with it. And it's like, whoa, like you got to give me like a year. Like if I want to make something new, it's going to take 12 to 18 months, I would say. And that was something that I don't think we were ready for in the beginning. Now that we've done it, you know, I breathe barely. And the first couple of years though, I was like, what is going on? Why is it taking so long? And so anyways, I would say time, capital, and And you know what? Sometimes it's like taboo to talk about, but ultimately, if you're a startup brand, capital's always an issue. Some of the
Oh,
biggest brands in the world, capital is an issue. Having money and having cash flow, it's always a problem and it always will be a problem. And so, and I like to say that we are lucky. When we first started, we did work with friends and family who were trusting us with their cash in order to build this company and grow with it. And again, it goes back to sort of the issues that we were having with our former brand that was like, man, we've got this product that's awesome. Do we reorder it or do we make things that are new? And so my suggestion for that is just planning. It wasn't that we weren't planning, but I think that if we had a better idea and a better landscape of what our goals were, I do think that we kind of dove head first. And I wish we always got the question, again, former brand, now we're doing things much, much differently, but we always got the question, like, what are you going to come out with in 5 years? And I'd be like, wow, like, I'm going to come out. And I started listing all these things I was
yeah.
about. Of course, none of those happened because it was like, oh my gosh, we have to reorder what we're good at. And so I would just have a very laid out, methodical plan, give yourself time, focus on that product development first. Um, and really quick, I'm going to add another one. Not all capital needs to go to product. That was another
Yes,
thing
that's huge. Yeah.
a lot of capital needs to go to marketing because you can spend a ton of money on a product and then how are you going to sell it? And that was another thing I think that we struggled with. And we're still struggling with it. As of right now, we have these two products, and our capital did go straight to product because we wanted something on the market that someone could buy. Brand awareness is a struggle. And so, right now, though, in my head, whether this is right or not, um, we have two products for sale. One's $10, one's $12. So if I spend money on marketing, I get someone to come to our website and like their average order is going to be $11. They're going to buy one thing average. To me, that's not enough. That's not enough of a sale in order to spend that money to even acquire them. And now they're coming to our website, not having a lot to choose from because most people with two products, they'll probably leave. So now it's a matter of, okay, let's use our capital and our cash and our flow right now to create something new. Let's have a third product. Let's have a fourth product. So by the time that we are spending money on the marketing, they're getting to our website and they're loving it because there's more choices and there's options. I mean, we're even thinking, I know it sounds silly, but every beauty brand right now has merchandise. So it's like that is technically a form of brand awareness. So okay, now we're offering 4 products and maybe like a water bottle or something with our logo on it that matches our who our customer base is and kind of our mission. And now it gets a little bit more of a sale, and now that person can rep us forever. So it's just, it's your brain is always moving, but that is something that I do want to tell people that don't spend all of your money on just product because you got to have a way to sell it eventually.
Oh, absolutely. And even for hustle, like I'm looking at your hat in the background there, like it's like a perfect brand, right?
No, this is my new one. I was testing out a script font, but I was like, these hats are just so in. I thought it was so cool. So I know that was I'm lucky because I'm in charge of merch as well. So I get all the testers. My
Oh,
teammates are jealous.
perfect.
I get to get all of them. They're like, where'd you get that? I was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's fine.
And the whole renaming and the branding, I think, is brilliant because exactly to your point, it's like it's highlighting like anybody and everybody, but
Yeah,
then it's also like the merchandise that you could wear it without feeling like you're wearing a brand, but people might ask about it and
I
then
know.
creating your brand awareness.
Yes, my sweet so I do have kids. So I dropped off my preschooler today and I had another hat. I have a blue hat that says hustle on it. And his sweet older teacher was like, "I love your hat." I was like, thanks. I don't think I've really ever said I'm a very casual mom at school. So it's like it's drop off. I'm sweet, I'm nice, but there's not a lot of time to like one-on-one talk about what I do for a living. But I just thought that was so cool. I'm like, man, I don't think she knows that I own a brand named Hustle. I think she just really liked the hat. I thought it was so cool. So I know I always get comments. So No, I love a good merchandise. Brand awareness is important. People latch onto that.
Oh, and even your social media, like when I was doing some market research and looking at the brand as a whole, I really like the storytelling that you do as well. Like talking about how your warehouse is very close to where you live when you do drop off with the kids, like that whole balance between. So let's talk about that a little bit too, like the whole lifestyle you've created around the company itself too.
Um, you know what? When we again had this idea and we started pro athletes, we were intense. We had a very competitive nature about us, and then we all retired and we all got married and we became moms. And you don't want anything that you're doing in life to really define you and who you are and your personality. But being a mom, man, like that kind of just like takes the cake. So now at the point, my life was kind of revolving around, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to take care of these kids. And then where's my me time? My me time was the gym. I got to be active. And I have an incredible group of friends here that a lot of us with preschoolers at the time, we would drop our kids off and we'd all go together. So there was like 4 or 5 of us, like walking on the treadmill together. We would be lifting weights. And I just thought it was so cool. I actually saw so many moms, so many moms. I mean, the gym from 9 o'clock to 11 is full of moms. And I love that. I thought it was so cool. Just being an athlete and kind of seeing the evolution of females inside the gym, strength training. That was something I had to do since I was like 8. I've been lifting weights since I was 8. That's probably not good, but now I'm seeing people who were never an athlete go into the gym and like deadlift. I'm like, that's kind of cool. And it's incredible the evolution of just health and wellness and females taking care of themselves and wanting to be strong. So I knew at that point, like it's not just me. And I'm a former athlete, but it's not just me who wants to stay fit and stay healthy and stay active. And a lot of this mom crowd is doing it for their kids. And if your kids are anything like mine, like that is a workout in itself. I've got 2 boys, 3, almost 4, and then a 6-year-old. And so it's constantly, I mean, it's like WWE over at my house. Like if I don't get involved and if I don't like lay someone down, like, mom's no fun. So I'm like, I'm trying to stay fit for my kids now. It's funny that kind of the evolution of your lifestyle, it changed. While of course we were rebranding, but it made so much sense because again, hustle, if I was a professional athlete, I would love it. And if I was a mom, I would love it. And if I wasn't a mom and I was going to the gym, I would love it. If I was a young professional that was commuting into a city, I would love it. It lasts all day. It gets me from A to B to C to D to all these things. So I think if anything, like this is the lifestyle I've always wanted to live. And I think that I'm creating a product and a brand and a line that fits so seamlessly into something I've been wanting for myself for so long. But seeing my other friends and seeing other people, it just solidifies that it's not just me wanting to live this way. There is a whole slew of people and women that are so active, and it doesn't need to mean fitness or like running till you're gonna pass out. Like it doesn't need to mean what it used to mean to me. Being active can mean chasing your kids. It can be walking on the treadmill. It can be going for a walk outside. It can be so many different things. And again, like as our lifestyle changed, I think it's so important for us to kind of evolve with it at the same time.
Hey there, beauty entrepreneurs and self-care enthusiasts. Are you looking to enhance your beauty business with a top-tier lash serum or simply seeking to elevate your own beauty routine? Look no further than Muskoka Beauty Lash and Brow Enhancing Serum. Proudly made in Canada, our serum offers the perfect blend of nourishing ingredients to naturally enhance your lashes and define those gorgeous brows. Whether you're aiming to retail a sought-after product or enhancing your personal beauty, Muskoka Beauty has you covered. And here's an exclusive offer just for our podcast listeners. Enjoy a fantastic 15% off discount on your order. Simply use the promo code podcast15 when visiting muskoka.com to claim your savings. Again, that's promo code podcast15 for 15% off our lash and brow serum. By the way, it is our best sellers, so can't wait to see your before and afters.
Oh, definitely. And that's even like what you were talking about. It's literally for all stages. Now, can men also use the products as well? Like it doesn't matter on the chemistry of the skin or anything like that?
No, no, not at all. We've like, I mean, we're thinking future, but we have always been told this would be a perfect like men's line. A men's line called Hustle, like would be so cool. We could change the font a little bit, make it a little stronger, maybe make it black. I don't know. But for sure, right now, our products, the cleansing cloths and the lip balm, 1,000%. Even our next product that's coming out is definitely borderline on the skincare. And so men can absolutely use it. Definitely nothing with the chemistry. If anything, I'm just happy to see men using skincare, um, and sunscreen. We
Yes,
had a
yes.
former product with our first brand Sweat that we will be bringing back with Hustle, and it's a translucent sunscreen powder. We had one shade with our former brand, and now we'll have two. So we'll have a lighter one and a darker one. I'll give away secrets. It should come out this summer if testing goes well. Testing has been good so far, but it's SPF 30, all natural zinc oxide. And what's so cool, it comes in this little component that like the brush is already attached.
Oh, perfect.
It is the perfect product for a guy. And my husband will love this. One, he absolutely uses the wipes. They're in his golf bag because they're gross. And then the lip balm, the other day he was in our bathroom and he was like, I am just going through these lip balms. I'm like, I've had the same one for like months. What are you doing with it? And he was like, every day, every day. I'm like, okay, wow, that's so cool. You're like using the products that I'm making. No, he's got one in his office, he's got one in his bathroom, he's got them all over. Loves it. So that's another one. Totally awesome. But the sunscreen, men just have a hard time, I feel like, with sunscreen. And this one took a little bit with me because it's a brush. Guys were like, they thought it was makeup. But
Oh,
what they
true. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
brush in the application. But this is how I got them. Most of the time when they're outside, at least my husband, golfing, lifting weight, doing something, and powder isn't greasy. So like I told him, I was like, you can put lotion, like sunscreen on, but your hands are going to be slippery when you go to swing that golf club. He was like, oh, how, like I can't have that happen. So he uses our
It's like the
powder.
psychological.
Yeah. But it was so good. I'm like, see, like it's so much better for you anyways because of the zinc oxide. It's not the chemical sunscreen. I'm like, it's so good for you. So I know I love seeing him swipe it on. Two for kids. I know that we're not marketing towards that, but
Your
when
application. Oh my gosh.
application with the powder is so nice, especially with little babies with like not a lot of hair. I used to put them on their head just because, my kids had little peach fuzz. So I'm like, oh, you're out at the park, like don't have a hat. I just brushed it on their head and it's been perfect. It's been so
That's
nice.
amazing. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Our products are super safe, clean, hypoallergenic, um, all natural zinc oxide. I mean, they're really, really great products that we believe in, and I feel more than comfortable using them on kids, and I need my husband to use them more.
Oh, definitely. That's what I always say. Like we're big golfers as well. And I'm always like, I
Oh
don't want to
yeah,
look better than you when I'm like 60. So keep wearing your sunscreen.
sunscreen, reapply, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a whole big like I do spray tanning a lot. Like I used to do UV beds back in high
I know,
school and
I
like
know.
college and stuff. But now I feel like the youth is like all about sunscreen. And it's really come like full circle now.
Say I'm like a little nervous because this is so true. I used to do the beds when I was in high school, and now it's of course the spray tanning, but we're not like old enough to the point where I feel like we can see the dramatic effects of the sun on our skin. I'm like, what is going to happen in 20 years
Yes.
to what's going to happen to my skin while all these 13 and 15-year-old, I mean, they're going to look this young for until they're 100. Sunscreen is so big. And I'm surprised it took so long to kind of, for us to grasp onto it. Man, my mom, she's part Native American, so her skin, she can really, really get tan, but she grew up without sunscreen. She was like, I never burned. So I got tan. It looked great. Like, what was the point? And I am now having to tell her now, of course, like her skin's just changing. It's matured skin. And I'm trying to force sunscreen on her. And it has been my mission for like 10 years of my life to like, mom, wear sunscreen. And I finally got her to wear our powder, which I'm like, amazing. That's all I need. You are protected and I'm proud.
You're doing your job as the daughter, right? Taking care.
I am just trying to save lives over here.
Oh my gosh. Now, when you actually physically got to hold the products, like even with like any of the brand, like even your past brand as well, like actually the feeling of holding that product after all that time and energy put in, what was that feeling for you? How did that feel?
It is, I mean, we talked about the process and just how it can be grueling, like a long process. And you finally reach a point after all the testing, all the samples. I mean, we've tested products before for like, we're still testing products for one of the liquids that we're about to create. Um, it's been like 3 years, 4 years maybe of us just testing, liking the samples. We want to change it. It has too much pigment, not enough, all these things. So when you finally get a product that's perfect, and then you get like the testing results and it's perfect, like all of these little things, the stability, it's good. And then you get to the point with the labs, you do a line trial or usually do a line trial. And one of my videos, so the product that we're about to come out with, one of my our videos on our Instagram was me going back to the lab. We have a lab in New Jersey. So I got to fly to New York and go over to the lab for our line trial. And I love this facility, by the way. It's just such a like well-oiled machine. Everything was perfect. And I had to put on like the lab coat and the hair thing and like walk around the floor. And even that experience, like that wasn't even final production yet. That experience was so cool to me because you saw something that you just talked about, and all of a sudden it was in these giant bowls being like squeezed into your product, it going down the line, it cooling, people labeling them. I mean, like it is just so cool because you have this idea in your head and you actually made it happen. And I think it's something that's so rewarding and can be a little oh my gosh, I don't know what the addicting. It can be a little addicting. And I'm in charge of product on our side because again, I am such a big beauty consumer. I have been forever that this gives me so much joy to just like take an idea and talk to someone about it, a chemist, obviously, who knows what they're doing and the ingredients and all that stuff, and then seeing it like in my hand to sell. And like that's so cool. So the line trial was awesome. I love seeing people like work, especially on your product. And I think I mentioned this earlier. I just think relationships in this business are so important. And so I want to meet the people that are working on my product because I want to thank them. It's not a
Oh,
matter,
definitely.
so many people walk into those labs and I think they are very critical. I was just there. I told him, I was like, I'm just here for a good time. Like, I just want to thank them for standing here and making sure the product is perfect and it's labeled perfectly and the cap's on tight and it's packed right. Like, there are people that are doing that for you. And so, I just wanted to go and honestly thank them. Of course, I got to oversee the whole process, but it wasn't a matter of correcting them. It was questions like, how big do you want the batch code? And like they got it perfectly. Where do you want it placed? And I was like, right here. And so like they did. And it was such a cool experience. That new product that I went to New Jersey for, it's in its mass production right now, which is awesome.
Exciting.
As
Yeah.
we been this week. And so we'll get that big shipment hopefully in a week or two and be able to launch a third product. But I think that besides obviously going to the lab, when you get a product and it comes to you in all these boxes, I say millions, hundreds, I don't know how many boxes are going to come. They get to the warehouse. Like I have to like meet the truck at the warehouse. I said on that one Instagram video, I have a control issue when it comes to our product. Our warehouse is 15 minutes away. I love the people that work there, but when the truck gets there, I get a text from the warehouse manager that says it's here and I speed my butt over there because I just am so excited. And when you open that, like cut open that box and then like whip open the sides and everything is just so nicely. I mean, it is like, it's so cool. There really isn't a feeling like that. I think that tears could be shed just knowing again how long that process is. And it's something that I think a lot of people don't understand or realize. Um, and yeah, it is a feeling like no other that makes you want to do it again
Oh
constantly.
yeah, like that addictive feeling, like you're
Oh,
just saying.
it is. It's addictive. It's like, wow. And it's also kind of cool because it's like, wow, like I made this. I could do another one. It's like, ooh, now you get all these ideas and you're like, ooh, I wonder if I could make this and make this. And it can get out of hand. So I know, thank goodness I have the rest of my team that pulls me
Wheels you
back.
back in.
Yeah, yeah, because like I do, it's a problem.
I really liked what you said about like being there for a good time, like really respecting your manufacturer, like the chemist, because we're like that. We were connected with our new lab here in Canada, and it was like basically they've taken us under their wing. We went through a whole recall competition thing with
Oh,
another competitor. It was like the worst 11 months of my life,
cool.
basically. And this lab, we started working with them, and like the kind of like project manager has literally taken me under his wing, and he's
Wow.
become kind of like a mentor for us. But I
Yeah,
think because I gave them so much respect,
yeah,
they're the experts,
yeah.
and he deals like a lot within India. And he was like, this is what you should do because this is what my success was in India. This is what I would recommend. This worked for us. You should do this. And I'm like, you tell me, like,
Yeah. I think that and I don't know if it's like industry, and I know there's so many people way more experienced than me. And if you run a brand and you've done this before and you know all the rules and how it works, I love that for you. And if you go into a lab and see something that's wrong and you call them out on it, that's your set. For me, I'm very big. Again, I do think this is kind of a athlete and teammate mindset is
yes, definitely.
I know my strengths and weaknesses. And if I have a weakness, I'm going to fill it. And that a lot of the times is the lab. I know that I'm not a chemist, bottom line. And I know that I don't know what ingredients go with what. And I know that I don't understand how their facilities and their warehouse operates. And so who am I to say and go in and mess that up or complain or have problems? They are doing, I know that we pay them, but they are taking care of my brainchild. Like
Yes.
my idea is coming to life because of them. And so I want to take their opinion into major consideration. What I loved about this lab in New Jersey, there was multiple project managers and oh my gosh, I need to make sure that I say this right. It was the production manager, production engineer, possibly. Um, yes, that oversaw all of the production floor. She formerly was in production for like TV.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and what was so cool is she just has such a different perspective and mindset. But what I loved is she truly, I mean, we had a conversation, me and her, about our brand, what I'm looking to do, and it helped her go into the production floor and make sure that came across in the product. And so like it seems like such a little thing. And wait, I wonder if I can show you. I don't think I have one of them next to me. With this new product that we're coming out, the batch code. The batch code has to be placed, it has to be a certain size. So I asked her, I was like, I really want it on the bottom of the package. And she was like, I don't know if there's enough room. We might have to put it on the side. And I was like, but the box is just so pretty and it's so blue and white and the batch code, it just throws off the whole aesthetic. And so she's having to listen to me who like, that's not the biggest problem here, you know? But I had worked so hard on this box. And so anyway, she took the product. She goes, I totally see what you mean. Because she had come from like a TV perspective where everything had to be perfect. It had to be perfectly placed, the lighting, all these things. She was like, I do agree with you. It would kind of throw off the aesthetic. So let me see what I can do. So they changed the sizing just a tad. They perfectly placed it. They measured where the product needs to sit to hit the laser at the right point. And she came back and she was like, look what I did. And it's
Oh
like,
my gosh.
that makes me so excited because she saw like that was something that I was like that was going to bother me, and it was my product and I want to be so proud of it, and she then wanted to be proud of it. And so
Mhm.
I do
Mhm.
feel like relationships just in general, whoever you're working with, like even your chemists, if you have a good relationship with them, they're going to work harder for you.
Oh,
And
definitely.
I try to think like from their perspective, if you have 10 brands and one of the brand owners you like really, really like, you want to impress them, you want to work hard for them. And let's say like every, product needs a second rendition. Which one are you going to go to first? Probably the one that you're like really excited about. And I try to have those meetings with certain people and try to have my passion and excitement come off because that's people are going to want to work harder for you if you want to work harder for them.
Oh my gosh. And that's such a good way to like close this episode too, because I feel like it's like your teammates, right? It's like you're working well as a team, you're working well as a team with your manufacturers, your labs, everything. It just kind of comes together to create the best, like literally the best team possible.
The best team. And I don't know how many people in this industry think in that sense, but it's something. And again, I'm so thankful for the rest of my team and founding team. There's four of us. And so if I can't do something, I know that someone else is covering me. And if I have a weakness, I'm going to find someone who has that strength. And um, that's what makes great products. What makes a good culture and it makes me want to wake up every day and again make more products and work with these people. And after one product, I'm like, what else can we make, guys? And it's like,
Yeah.
see, I'm over here in Texas, but I was let's hang out. Let's go get dinner. Like I love the people and I love hearing their stories and how they got there. And I think teammate is the perfect way to say it. I think everyone we work with, even our customers, we want to consider them as we're all team. We're a team
And
in
they're
this.
like your fans, right? It's like come full circle for you and your team, which I
Yeah.
absolutely love that. It's really come, it's so interesting. That's what I love about the podcast is hearing where people have come from to where they are. And sometimes it's not even close to where they expected to be.
Totally. And I just thank you for having me on. I think that it's so cool. Just from again, like if a customer of ours or someone who was looking at our brand, they're not going to know our true story. They could look at our about page and they can see, oh yeah, they played soccer, they're making products that are sweat resistant, yada yada. But it's so much fun to tell our story. It's a very unique story, especially in this space. And not a lot of female athletes will come out as entrepreneurs. And so I've loved learning from where we started to now. I told someone the other day, I was like, man, I'm like an expert now. I'm like the 10 years in the beauty industry. I mean, we jumped right in and I could go on and on about how many things I have learned or been taught or had how many questions I've had to ask because I just don't know the answer. But things are really looking up right now.
I'm so excited to watch you grow and to see some of the new launches you're hinting at as well.
I'm very excited. Some exciting things are happening in the next couple of months. So I will be you can be the first to know. I'll send you
There
an
you
email.
go. Perfect.